Hey guys, Nick Schwedock here, and I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to be going over market statistics for the month of May. I'm going to be sharing my screen and going over some cool statistics. If anyone ever has any questions, I'm happy to dive deeper. Or if you want to know specific market data for your neighborhood, we can go all the way down to neighborhood and even the street. And so I hope you all like what I have to share today. Yeah. Okay, so diving in, the first thing I see is that there's a major uptick in withdrawn and expired listings. And so what that is probably indicative of is that there's just a lot of seller fatigue. And so a lot of these sellers right now, if they can't get what they want and they don't have to sell, then they're just sitting and waiting until the market conditions get better because they're locked into really low interest rates. I see that the average price and the median price are pretty flat. The median is a better indication of where the market is. We have median change of 0.3%, and then the average sold price has come down 3.2%. Average sold price per square foot and median sold price per square foot is also pretty flat, and so we're not seeing a lot of change right now year over year in our market. Jumping over to total sales and under contract listings, we see that there's been a slight decrease, especially in the amount of total sales. Still not a major movement, but it is something that probably shows us more of where the market is and feeds into some of the woes of buyers wanting to wait for or for buyers wanting to wait for the interest rates to get better, and then that sellers aren't as maybe as motivated to sell if they can't get what they want. Jumping over to under contract, we see that there's been a decrease 3.1%, but if you look at the numbers, it's 289 versus 280, so almost no change over that year over year. Overall, what we're seeing here is that the market is more or less the same year over year, that there's not been any crazy increases or decreases, which is probably not the worst thing in the world considering, where things are at with the Fed rate. A 13-month look at the market, May over May, and you'll see that the median and the average lines are pretty flat, which means that things are pretty stable. And so no cause for concerns with any of these numbers as you look at the charts. Whether you're a buyer or seller, right now is actually a pretty good time in the market. Not a lot of changes in prices right now. If you're a buyer, you could probably get a decent deal on a place. And if you're a seller right now, if you price your house well, you're probably going to get some action. So what you see here is the amount of units sold per month. So with the seasonality in the market, we always see a spike in April or May. Some people say we might see another spike in Q3, depending on what interest rates do. But overall, this is how it looks most years. And so most of the time you see a spike in May, and then it starts to taper off in August, and then starts to slide off as we approach the holidays. This is a graph of the new listings for 2025 compared to last year. Right now we have more new listings. The chart is more or less going to follow year over year the same. We'll probably see a decrease in listings as we enter into Q3, and then it'll taper off real strong as we approach the holidays. So looking at this chart, we have the pending units by month, and so this is again year over year. We've seen some more spikes this year than we did last year. It's still the same trend as far as going up towards April, May, and then it looks like it's coming down a little sharper than it did last year. And so it'll be interesting to see if we get another spike or two this year with pending units. It really just going to depend on what buyer patterns look like for this year. So overall, after looking at all this data, it really seems to show that we're in a stable market. And so whether you're looking to buy or looking to sell, the important thing is to realize that the best timing is when you're ready. And so don't let any of these numbers concern you. If you have questions, please reach out. This is a macro level, high level. Where it really gets interesting is when we look at specific neighborhoods and areas. That's when you can get even better data, more accurate data for what you're trying to do. Yeah. Please reach out anytime. I'd love to help you with your specific situation. Thanks for watching, and I will send one next month.